Thank you very much for joining us again on TVC Breakfast. The Independent National Electoral Commission has declared the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Ifeoluwa Ehindero, as the winner of the by-election in the Akoko Northeast, Akoko Northwest Federal Constituency in Ondo State. The returning officer for the election, Johnson Fashimiri, said the APC candidate polled 35,504 votes to defeat his closest rival, Olalekan Bada of the People's Democratic Party, who had 15,328 votes. Well, the federal constituency seat became vacant in 2023 after the former legislator Olubunmi Tunji Ojo resigned following his appointment as Minister of Interior by President Bola Tinubu. Joining us now via Zoom from Texas, the United States, is the convener, Social Rehabilitation Grace and Support Initiative, Dr. Oludare Maridoti. It's good to see you again. Good morning. What are your thoughts?
Good to see you, Kemi. How are you?
Right, I'm fine. So what are your thoughts on the fallout of the by-election in Ondo State? Are you particularly surprised at the emergence or that, the APC carried the day again?
No, I'm not surprised at all. But before I go into answering your question, I would like to pay a personal tribute to Pa Jimmy Sholanke.
Right.
I graduated from OAU and I was opportune to have been entertained by him. Myself and the winner of the election, Ifeoluwa, several times while going to OAU Staff Club, would have chats with him. And, it's sad to see him go, but, we wish him all the best with his creator, but going back to the election, I am not surprised at all because, APC has shown dominance in the Southwest and quite frankly, all across the country and I think this is also because, back when there was the opposition, when PDP was in charge, there was an intellectual opposition to the stance of the PDP. Right now, the APC don't have an intellectual opposition. The only position of the PDP and the others is opposition. Their position is opposition. So that is why they don't have anything to use to wrestle the power. And Ifeoluwa, I must announce, was like I mentioned earlier, is a very close friend of mine, and his journey to the House of Rep did not start, when BTO resigned. It started over 10 years ago, when he would, started taking interest in politics, and we would even call him honorable. I would even make fun of him and call him a funny name that I won't see on TV. But, and just that dedicated passion of it, because he's a very nice guy, kind guy, he's someone who has the love, like his name says, he has the love of the people at heart. So I guess, during the course of the election hearing, that transcended, and the people made a very smart choice because this is someone that even with his friends, he would have sleepless nights. He would sacrifice his own comfort at several occasions just for us to, sometimes he'll sleep on the floor for us to sleep on his bed. That's the kind of person he is. So you can, imagine the quality of leadership that he's going to give to his people. And, another thing that we cannot also forget also definitely is the role that the governor of the Ondo State played, because the primaries, although he won a landslide, it was, a little bit contentious, and everybody thought there was going to be a fallout. But, the governor came in, he brought in the cavalry, he united the whole, constituency, the party, and everybody went out and campaigned for Ifeoluwa. And I must say that the governor definitely played a significant role. This actually was his first outing as the governor, and he played a significant role in ensuring that landslide, victory. Because currently in Ondo State right now, there is an Ayedatiwa wind that is blowing all across the state. Anybody that tries to go against him is swimming against the storm, and they'll get swept away. And this is because of what they did to him. They made the man into a hero. He has the sympathy of everybody. So that was why he was able to come out, stand by Ife. They did the rally. And, it was toast after that. Everything was settled, because the people are behind him just because of the fact that, You remember, like they said,
Right.
the stone that is told to sign the undated resignation letter, who is now the cornerstone governor of the state right now, proverbially. So he was able to unite the whole forces of the state behind the party, and that led to victory. And I believe, in my own opinion, that there is no other choice. He is going to win that primary and most likely get the election
Well,
because of what they did to him.
well, until then, but then, congratulations to your friend who won in this by-election, and the fact that one sleeps or slept on the floor is not synonymous to good governance. We've had someone who never had a shoe or never had shoes, while in school. So, well, it remains to be seen
Sorry,
how they will.
sorry, let me interject. My point was that he would sacrifice for people. So
Okay.
someone, because service is about giving. So if someone who would give to his friends, his own comfort, so he would give to his own people also.
That's right. But then voting on Saturday was actually disrupted in places such as Akoko Northeast and Akoko Northwest, federal constituency by election at Unit 5, Ward 13 in Oyimo, Ikare, Akoko, Ondo State. When suspected political thugs disrupted the voting process and snatched the ballot box. What does this say about, how the election, do you think this had impact on the outcome of the election, and what does it say about our attitude to election or elections in this time and age?
Thanks for talking about that. My cousin was in that area that you mentioned during that election, and he told me how the PDP guys. That was what he saw. I'm not trying to isolate it to them, but what he saw was that the PDP guys were trying to what's it called, intimidate some people because that was their stronghold. The opponent was from that side. But this goes to the larger problem that we have with violence in Nigeria in general and how it affects the election. We do not have a strong security system. The police they are grossly inadequate. It is just one body, national police. I mean, how many places can the IGB be at? So because we don't have that, silo like what's called localized policing, it is possible for these thugs to come in without any form of deterrence. They have a free range to do whatever they want to. And this is why the constitutional amendments, thank God that they've been talking about it right now, I think we're expecting it next year, is very essential so that we can give the localities the power to police themselves because they want to be safe. Definitely, I mean, if you multiply the vote of the opponent by 2, it still will not get what if got. So one unit is not going to be enough. But the problem is that general election-based violence, which sometimes comes from people on both sides, people who should, I think definitely this is part of why I started social rehabilitation, because we need to change the way people think also. A lot of these people are just poor, probably poorly educated people who are being, what's it called, taken advantage of by a lot of politicians, and then they cause this havoc. So definitely, we need to focus on our security in general. If we focus on our security in general, a lot of these political thugs would have probably been arrested and prosecuted and jailed even before the election for committing other crimes. But since we don't have this rigid structure, these guys, election time is like Christmas for them. They come out, they try to make some money, they wreak this havoc. And it's very sad. I mean, I know that it was largely peaceful, but I know there was those pockets of violence. So the only way forward is to fix that security, which is also what has led to jail kidnappings and everything that is occurring, Kogi, Ekiti, everything. We need to give the people the power to protect themselves. People want to protect themselves. So we have to give them the power. If we give them the power, they will employ. The guy that started FBI, Jeff Hoover, said one thing in the 60s that, security is the one business that the government can run at a profit. The government is bad at running every business. But when someone commits a crime, you arrest them, you fine them, they break traffic lights, all those things, the government is making money. And that money goes to the local government. I was in New York a while back, and the taxi driver told me that, these traffic lights made over $50 million for New York last month. That was the news. So, if we gave the people, the locality, the power to protect themselves, they will ensure smooth, free, and fair election. So that is one thing that I think we need to focus on when we're talking about election-based violence. Just the same way it has always happened in the history of Nigeria election. I think it was even worse in Enugu or something, So the only way forward is to restructure that basic problem that we've always had. I heard His Royal Majesty Olufalaye say that when he was a young man, there were sectional police, there were Western police, Eastern police, we need to go back to something even much more detailed than that. That's what I think is, that's my concern about that whole security thing. Because if we don't, it will continue.
In Ondo State, you spoke earlier about the mandate before the winner of the Akoko Northeast, Akoko Northwest federal constituency by-election. And, many observers have spoken about how rich the potential is in the state, and yet lamenting on the level of underdevelopment and poverty, hinting that this is an opportunity for the incoming lawmaker to, do his own part. And he's young. You have also labeled him as a vibrant individual. Tell us more about how he intends to go about it. What refreshing ideas that he intends to bring on board?
Yeah, definitely. I have known Ife to be a man of the people, so definitely I would first start by talking about the fact that we are expecting the constitutional amendment. With Ife Eilero being in the House of Representatives, I am more confident that it is going to yield something more substantive that will secure the government. He is a man of the people, so it has always been my idea that the only way out of our problem is education, is training the people. You see, if you don't train the people, the people don't make the country don't make the people make the country. So if you want to build your country, you need to build the people, and they will build their country. So he is someone being a man of the people. I believe he is going to have a lot of initiatives, and some of them, we've had chats about, that will put skill in the hands of the people. Let me give you like a wide, and I did this calculation a while ago. If we took all our proven natural reserve of crude oil and exploited it today, everything, normally at the rate we are exploring, it will take us 70 years. But if we exploited it today and sold it at the price of $100 per barrel, and then divided it amongst 200 million Nigerians, we will only get about maybe $15,000. That is nothing. If you train a mechanic or a carpenter or a bricklayer, they will make more than that on a yearly basis. So we cannot sell oil or sell, mineral resources to prosperity. The only way to prosperity is to educate the people, give them the skill. A carver is better than a logger of wood in the farm, because that carver will take something that is almost worthless and turn it to something that is priceless. So I believe these are things that if we try to bring into the constituency when it comes to education, the quality of education that children are having from the primary school to the secondary school, so that they have that basic education is what will propel them to a lifetime of prosperity. But so those are one of the things that I'm looking at and that we'll actually be talking about that would lead to the transformation of that zone. But we have to make it general too. One tree cannot make the forest, so we need to expand it all across the country, because Nigeria has a lot of prospects. We have the numbers, but the number without money will not bring you markets. So definitely we need to empower our people so that they can have that purchasing power and they have the skill. We will not have prices of dollar or anything if that was all going on. I know everybody has been crying about dollar, but if you check the value of the Korean won and the Nigerian naira is still slightly, as of today, stronger than the value of the Korean won. But Korea does not have our economic problem because they are very productive. They make Samsung, they make LG, they make Hyundai. So you see, the dollar is not the problem. The problem is our productivity. Yes, maybe once we stop, the subsidy of exchange rates, we are probably soon going to stop importing fuel. We might be able to balance the dollar. But the dollar is not really our problem. Our problem is the quality of education and the quality of people that we have living in the country, how productive they are. Economy, I think was Elon Musk that said it in one interview, that economy is not actually money. Economy is goods and services. And who are going to produce goods and services? The people. They're the ones that will make the goods. They're the ones that will produce the service. So we need to give them the skill they need. And that is the only way that I see out of our economic predicament.
That's right. I love the fact that you said that just a tree cannot make a forest. And the fact that people are complaining about the economic situation since the removal of fuel subsidy, and the fact that we're also not really producing as we should be producing. But it's so amazing that, in this concluded election this past Saturday, APC actually held sway, and, APC swept Lagos, Oyo, Ondo, even in some other states, against other parties. And in some places you see the figure, the results higher, way higher than, the contending parties. Is this a verdict on the performance of APC so far, regardless, despite the fact that we had, protesting somewhere in Osun and also in Niger?
Well, we cannot say that it is a verdict on APC as a party. We can say that it is a verdict on the opposition. They don't have alternatives. I mean, you read that Labour Party said Tinubu to seek help. Back in the days when Awolowo was in the opposition to the Shagari government, Awolowo actually was not just criticizing, he was offering alternatives. But that's why I said they don't have an intellectual alternative. There's no intellectual opposition. Their only position is opposition, and that is not enough. That is why APC keeps pillorying them. They don't have anything to offer the people. They are not talking about it, at least. Maybe once they start talking about it. But I really feel I need to talk about the situation of the economy in Nigeria, because the situation is very dire for real. People are finding it hard to survive, to feed, to get by. But just like when someone has the malaria and the nurse brings out the injection, the nurse definitely knows that the injection will cause pain. You will probably have problems walking for a few days, but that injection is needed for your survival, and that is why the nurse will stab you with it and give you, and you will get better in the future. Like the proverbial Shakespeare's Hamlet, when he said, when Hamlet told his mother that, I must be cruel to be kind, so that the bad will begin, but the worst would have been avoided. That is what this policy is doing. It seemingly is cruel to Nigeria right now, but it is being kind, so that the old economic collapse and the bankruptcy and the abject poverty and the insolvency that would have occurred if we didn't take this cruel decision, it would have been avoided. So it is very essential, and that's why I like what the CBN governor coming out yesterday to talk about all these things, to talk about the fact that we have 2.4 billion that is allegedly, fraudulent claims. The fact that we have 7 billion that people have invested in Nigeria that we are preventing them from repatriating. These are people that might have probably even taken loans to come and invest in Nigeria. How are they paying back their creditors and stuff like that? So these are things that Nigerians need to understand, that we couldn't continue in that direction, that this direction is the only way out. We have actually gone through the eye of the storm, through the worst of the storm, and I think that things should start getting better towards the end. So I don't think the administration should try to say that, food is still cheaper in Nigeria. No, if you give a child an injection and he's crying, you don't slap the child and say, why you are crying? You are causing him pain. So he's expected to cry. You give him bele, analgesia, and you try to make strategic interventions. I have advocated for removal of all ban on, importation of food, because it is food security, to me, is more important than food productivity. And protectionism will not even lead us to food productivity. So if you remove those, restrictions, and you can try to use that to bring down the price of food, at least a little bit. The farmers in in Germany, in France, were having a riot, like a strike last week over, a reduction of subsidy. I feel like the government can continue subsidizing farmers. So while we are taking subsidy away from fuel, we can try to target it towards food in such a way that it will bring down the cost of food, and Nigerians will at least get a little bit of respite while we are awaiting the grand, idea of the federal government to play. It is very essential. If you don't take away those things, food is currently unnecessarily expensive in Nigeria. So I feel like we should not try to dismiss the pain of the people because the pain is real. We should just try to be patient with them, to educate them, to repeat the message. That is how you teach. You have to keep on repeating the same message that stay calm, things will get better, and then they watch it get better because I have been watching the indices and all, things are definitely getting better. The foreign portfolio investors, foreign direct investment is coming back into Nigeria because they are saying that things are now clear. You don't have to go and bribe someone in the CBN for you to get access to dollar. You can bring your money in and repatriate it because one of the problems that a lot of people in the West even have is that once they bribe, then they are going to jail in their country. So they can't even come and do it. So,
That's right.
but with the policies that the president has implemented right now, the economy is about to start to get better. It will take time, and that was why it was very smart. I've said it on this program before. It was very smart for the president to have done it the very first day, removing subsidy, and to do the unification of exchange very early too, because what he has done is that he has bought himself time. So this whole thing will occur, and then by the middle of his administration, things will have started getting better. So he has already secured, to me, in my own opinion, his second term.
Dr. Marindoti, all right. So Ife Ehidero, and for many people, especially observers, watching from outside, they would say not much is known of him other than being the son of former Inspector General of Police. So help us, give us an eye-opener into his personality, into who he is, and how he hopes to achieve his mandate, especially being a youth and, given this opportunity on a national platform to change lives for good.
Thank you very much. There's a misconception. I'll try and correct it. Ife Ehidero is the nephew of the former IG. His father is a professor from Ife. Right. Actually, Ife Ehidero is one of the very kindest guy that I met during my stay in OAU. I can't count the number of times where he stepped in and helped me personally. People stayed in his house for free. He's a nice guy. So when it comes to the manner, and he's very humble too. I have never seen someone so level-headed. Nothing gets, this power that you're seeing will not get to his head because that is the manner of man he is. He was raised right. He was raised by a professor, and he was raised right with manners and values. So when it comes to, changing things, he is someone that has ideas and that is also, sensitive to good ideas. I think, I don't know if I ever mentioned this before, but I organized a concert after in my final year medical school where I was trying to raise money to feed children living with HIV. I went to Ife Ehidero and I told him about this idea, and he brought out the money because he was passionate about that cause. Yes, we invited Davido. Then Davido was a young artist. We invited Davido, YQ, and Sam Clef. He was so passionate about it that he brought out his money, and we lost that money because of ASU strike. We could not have our concert then. But that goes to show you the manner of man and the integrity and the art that he has. That name, Ife Ehidero, perfectly describes him. Maybe it was a seer that gave him, but he's someone that has so much love in his heart, and it is very essential. It is very essential for you to love your people and to care for your people. I think it was T.R. Roosevelt that said that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That care is very important, and it is that care that will translate into how it will work for the people of his constituency, but for the people of Nigeria also at large, and show the people that the youth are ready to take the mantle of power. Because I think we are better, equipped, and we have more enlightenment, and we know better.
Right. Very quickly, I'm not sure we have enough time, but then looking at the politics of things in Ondo State, by November there will be election to elect the new governor, and then one of the aspirants, Olushola Oke, saying that he's blaming the upsurge of people who are coming out in the party to run for position of governor on the fact that on the death of Akeredolu, that if he was alive, that if he were alive, that there won't be that number of people. He only said that maybe just about 4 of them, or he'll be able to choose, as again his 16 governorship aspirants. What do you make of this? The quality of the aspirants who are coming out just in for the position very quickly.
I don't think there's any veracity to that claim. I mean, first of all, before Akeredolu died, there had been Soma SSG, Minister of what's it called, Finance, and so many other people, including Oluchola himself. And I feel like, maybe, he's probably trying to cry before the election comes so that in case something happens, they can see someone to blame. It is very obvious. The governor has made some very smart moves. He dismissed all the cabinets, some of who are going to be against him. And he now has a lot of positions to offer people. We all know the way politics works here, all over the world, actually. So, so it is almost certain. You definitely can't say that the governor is going to win the primaries and go on and win the election, because PDP is essentially non-existent, has no structure in the state. That is just my own opinion about it. So the whole cry, I mean, we don't want a democracy where the former governor selects his successor. The people should select, and the people have shown a positive sentiment towards Aida. They love him. They made him a hero by opposing him. They didn't know when to hold them. They didn't know when to fold them. They didn't know when to walk away or when to run. And that was why they turned him into a hero. The people celebrated his, ascension to office. And that is the sentiment that will carry on through the year, that will lead him, I believe, in my own assessment, to the Alagbaka office come next year.
All right, Oludare Maridoti of the Social Rehabilitation, Grace and Support Initiative. Thanks a lot for your contributions on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you for having me.